Chapter 1. On Milwaukee Avenue, on the northwest side of Chicago, on Friday nights, there would be a crowd of young people dressed up, as if for a wedding, waiting to get into the holiday ballroom. In 1965, in that part of Chicago, you were either a greaser or a duper. If you were going out, dupers wore a bright or striped shirt, casual pants or jeans and loafers, socks or no socks, optional. Think the album cover of any Beach Boys album in the 60s. For the ladies, long hair or ponytail, skin-tight jeans or shorts. The greasers wore Italian knit shirts, or dress shirts, dress pants and dress shoes. Socks? Always black socks. For casual wear, t-shirts, sleeves rolled up, or a Dago tee with dress pants and black shoes. Think Sylvester Stallone in the original Rocky. But, to get into the holiday, a dress code was in order. Men, suit or sports coat, dress shirt and tie were required. Ladies, a dress and shoes required. Inside, while dancing, many pairs of shoes lined the walls, but to get in, dress footwear required. In 1965, 100% of the girls wore miniskirts of all color and styles. Because of the dress code, the holiday quickly became a greaser destination. On Friday nights, the band or bands would start to play. Most of the bands hoped that this would be the start to a great career. The Pulsations, later to become the Buckinghams, got their start on Friday nights at the holiday ballroom. Outside the ballroom, young men with sports coats and very narrow ties with black pointy shoes lined up to get in. Joining them were girls in miniskirts, with the 3 types of hairstyles. The beehive, hair piled high up on their head, held together with bobby pins and massive amounts of hairspray. Next were young ladies with long hair flowing down their backs, shook their heads back and forth as the band began to play. Lastly, most of the girls wore shoulder-length hair with the ends curled up, their hair bouncing as they walked through the doors of the ballroom. As the girls walked down Milwaukee Avenue towards the ballroom, carloads of young males driving by shouted out admiration towards the girls, evoking one of the opening scenes from The Bronx Tale. Wolf whistles and praise, sometimes raw and rowdy, was standard fare. Some of the girls responded with smiles and inner satisfaction, some responded by raising a single digit, and a few responded with some choice comments of their own. Inside the ballroom the music was loud, the lights dim, and even a bad dancer like me could pretend he could be on American Bandstand. We came to the ballroom with a built-in crowd. 4 or 5 guys and 3 girls would fill 2 cars every Friday night. Sometimes the girls would be joined by 1 or 2 girls from our high school. Still 2 cars, just more people to squeeze in. The girls who went with us every Friday were girls we had grown up with since grammar school, just friends. If none of the girls in the ballroom would dance with us, then we danced with the neighborhood girls. Dancing was one thing, dating was another. We all felt that it would be like dating your sister. In fact, one of the guys did date one of the neighborhood girls, and he said that when he walked her to the door and kissed her goodnight, it was like kissing a wall. Their eyes sprang open, both. Embarrassed, and she disappeared in the door. They both never mentioned the date again, and it was soon forgotten. But the girls who tagged along from high school from time to time, that was a different story. One of the girls who came along occasionally took no abuse as she walked towards the ballroom. When heckled with a lewd or gross comment, she gave it right back, and then some. She was pretty, smart, and took no abuse. Once, when she was being abused with lewd comments, she gave it right back. The car stopped and a group of guys started to get out. My friends and I, with a group of regulars at the holiday, came to her aid. The guys in the car saw the crowd coming at them and got back in the car and drove away. This was before guns on the street became prevalent. Some of the guys found her bravado annoying. If we ever want to set up a gang fight, all we have to do is bring Paula along. Some of my friends said, I found her ability and willingness to stand up for herself and her friends refreshing and amusing. But as the years went by, she proved to be way ahead of her time. I liked Paula, not in an amorous way, but as a good, strong person, and when at the holiday she would dance with me without laughing. But there was a different side as well. In the school parking lot, as Paula walked to her car, friends would drive by and yell, "Hey, Paula! parroting the title words from the 1963 hit song by, naturally enough, Paul and Paula. Seeing that the ribbing was good-natured and in good taste, Paula would blush, put her head down, and walk to her car. The months went by and it was time to graduate. The senior prom approached and I didn't have a date. The senior prom wasn't all that important to me, and I liked the thought of saving money instead of using it for the prom. One morning in the cafeteria, I heard some of the girls from the next table talking about Paula. It's a shame she doesn't have a date yet for the prom, and she's so pretty. One girl said, "Yeah, well, I think half the guys are afraid of her. If they said something or tried something, they're afraid Paula would slap them silly." Another girl said and broke into a big smile. Big time. Another girl at the table. Later, while driving to my after-school job at a nearby drugstore, I thought about asking Paula to the prom. I figured she was a good sport, and if something happened and she lost her temper, it sure wouldn't be a boring night. I figured, what the hell? Later, after work and after supper, I went to my room and emptied a huge jar of change on the bed. Throwing the pennies back in the jar, I threw the rest of the coins in a bag and left the house. I drove past the main intersection of Harlem and Montrose, where there were a number of payphones, and drove 6 blocks down to a business office parking lot, where there was an isolated payphone not too close to a streetlight. I didn't want to park near a busy area where someone might recognize me, stop, and while I would be on the phone, ask who I was calling. I parked my car near the payphone, not a phone booth, but an open payphone, with no privacy and no shield from the cold spring wind. I walked to the payphone, took change from my bag and started stacking coins that I soon would be directed to keep feeding into the payphone. I took a deep breath and placed the call. On the second ring, Paula's mother answered and told me to wait. Paula finally answered and we started to talk. Before my cash ran out, I made sure I asked her to the prom. She said yes, and we talked for a while. As we talked, I was puzzled by the person I was talking to. The person on the other end was casual, articulate, and sweet. As we talked, and my change ran out, I asked her for a date this weekend, the prom still being 2 weeks away. She said yes. On Saturday, I picked up Paula for our date. We went to the movies, then had dinner. Actually, we went to a drive-in not in the neighborhood. And then I drove her home and parked in her driveway, all during dinner, and now parked in her driveway. The girl who I had seen always laughing and talking with her friends was quiet. Not quiet as in having nothing to say, but asking questions about what I was talking about. For a guy who really didn't have any family and really didn't have anyone to talk to. Talking with my buddies about girls. Cars, beer, and sports didn't really count. I found myself babbling on about a range of topics, including plans for my future. When I kissed her good night, which definitely was not like kissing my sister, I was truly enamored. I quickly asked for another date. By the end of our second date, I came to recognize that the outgoing, sometimes fierce person she presented to the world was a shield that protected a sensitive, deep-down shy girl from the outside world, and the girl I had come to know was nothing like the shield she raised to protect the girl down deep. The vibrant life Paula once knew was about to change in ways no one could predict. Her journey continues in Chapter 2, Something Wasn't Right.